Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2017 Convocation, a celebration of the new academic year, Beloit College's 171st, and a formal welcome on the part of the whole college to our newest students. The first thing that I would like to do is to thank Shannon Fye, our Chief Marshal, and the rest of our faculty marshals for pulling off yet another successful shoehorning in of everybody into the chapel. So thank you. One of the things that has probably become clear to those of you who are new to Beloit is that we are a pretty informal place. One of the first-year students I met this past week has already picked up on the fact that some members of our community even treat shoes as optional. Yet, even with all our informality, we retain the tradition of starting the year with a formal academic procession, donning robes that harken back to the medieval roots of higher education. Traditions serve a purpose. They often signal important points in our lives, setting them apart and alerting us to pay attention and reflect. To those of you just joining Beloit, I encourage you to mark this moment in your memory. Processing down College Street and being greeted by the Beloit College faculty and staff as you walked into Eaton Chapel, you formally joined our college community. When you graduate, you will engage in a similar ritual, signaling the commencement of your life beyond Beloit. From henceforward, you are now officially a Beloiter. And if everything goes as planned, this college will change your life, and you will change it. Convocation is an important moment for all of us. It calls us back to our mission and connects it to our daily lives. It reminds us of our commitment to learning from one another through our complementary intelligences and imaginations. It brings us back to our obligation to use that education to seek informed, ethical, and thoughtful action in a complex, often confusing, and certainly not always just world. Convocation marks the start of the academic year and reminds us that we are all a part of this enduring community and its values. For many of you, Beloit may still feel strange. You're not alone. This place can take some getting used to. And I'm not convinced that people getting dressed up in robes and funny hats is the best formula for making you feel at ease. Yet, these robes also physically mark that this place is different from where you have been and that you are in for adventures that you are unlikely to have experienced before. Your Beloit College education can and will be transformative. As you work to get used to this place and prepare to get used to a lot of change, I encourage you also to hold on to this simple sentence. Beloit College is your college. While it has a rich history, it also is what it is because of what you bring to it. To reinforce that point, I'm going to go back almost 170 years to when Beloit's first two professors met on a spot near here. You new students may be able to relate to at least a little bit of what these two men, Joseph Emerson and Jackson Bushnell, must have experienced. For you, this last week has likely felt simultaneously thrilling, exhausting, and a little daunting. Finding your way around buildings that look too much alike, trying to understand new expectations and requirements, getting used to the food, meeting lots of new people. In 1848, Emerson and Bushnell traveled from Connecticut to Wisconsin via boat and horse-drawn coach. Middle College, the only college building at that point, was only half built, and construction of it had stalled. It's likely that some livestock were actually wandering around what we now call campus, and Emerson and Bushnell were both under the age of 30, and they were charged with building a college that would serve as an intellectual and civic leader for their times and beyond. The audacity of that project had to have been both inspiring and nerve-wracking. Arriving here, I think Joseph Emerson fell prey to the nerve-wracked part of that equation, at least for a moment. He turned to Bushnell and asked, "Can we have a college here?" And in one of the best and most resolute replies that he could have offered, Bushnell said, "Yes, if we will make it." Emerson Bushnell did make that college. We continue to make that college. I emphasize both the we and the active verb make here. You, our newly minted Beloiters, are now a part of making this college. This is a long-term proposition extending well beyond the time you will spend here. The annual ritual of Convocation reminds us that we are all a part of a history and community that extends well beyond us gathered here, across the world and backward and forward in time. You have chosen Beloit because you think it will give you something you need to be the kind of person that you want to be, and to forge the world that you want to live in. Similarly, you offer Beloit the things we need to be so that we can be the kind of college and community we want to be. Without you, your curiosity, intelligence, imagination, curiosity, vulnerabilities, resiliences, experiences, and opinions, our community would be less rich, less alive, less Beloit. We look forward to seeing what each of you becomes and what you make our college become. One of your partners in that making and becoming is President Scott Bierman, who, after helping some of you move into your rooms last week and then telling your families to go away, will now expand further upon what it means to be a Beloiter.
Welcome. One of the great things about opening Convocation is the procession in. And I was mentioning to Anne as we were walking in that it starts with a group of students carrying flags from their home countries, and then it has the four of us, and then it has another group of students. And the great thing about it is that the faculty that line up, forming the gauntlet which we have to pass through, cheer, of course, for the students carrying the flags, and then look forward to cheering for the students that follow after us. But it's too rude to stop while Anne and I pass by. And so Anne and I are enormously appreciative of the thunderous applause that the faculty gave us as we walked through. This afternoon, we were nearly inconvenienced by some rain. Faculty and staff had the annoying task of potentially being asked to process into this chapel in a different way than we have before. Once we recess, we're going to enjoy an indoor picnic rather than an outdoor one. But in southeastern Texas, in Galveston, Corpus Christi, Rockport, Houston, it is raining. And there are people on their rooftops waving sheets for rescue, and people displaced in shelters, people floating critical belongings down city streets and away from flooded living rooms, and people not knowing what tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year will now look like. 3 feet of rain. You will not be here very long without someone referencing the Beloit bubble. An inference that your time at this place is characterized by a barriered separation between this college and the world outside this campus. If that characterization of your experience at the college ever rings true, it should be a siren call to you that you are missing the entire point of your time here. At the heart of how this college achieves its mission is a commitment to having you experience the ways that philosophies and principles and histories and assumptions and models and hypotheses are enriched and deepened by their intersections with authentic, unscripted, unedited, real-world situations. Your interplay between theory and practice is essential. Your development at Beloit College, your likelihood of being the embodiment of the Beloit College mission, the engagement of your intelligence, imagination, and curiosity towards leading a life marked by high achievement, personal responsibility, and public contribution in a diverse society depends nearly entirely on the utter lack of a bubble that does not work. Here is a bubble-impaired education. Here is what we aspire for you in a Beloit education. They are as far apart as they can be. In this moment, our hearts go out to residents of southeastern Texas. We empathize with the enormity of the disruption in the lives of so many people, and of course, the tragic loss of lives that we are hearing about. Many of you in this room will have family or friends or acquaintances impacted by the storm, and you are worried about their well-being. Our thoughts are with you right now. Questions that will ultimately be raised by the impacts of Hurricane Harvey, I suspect, will include such things as, to what extent is the severity of weather events like this the result of greenhouse gases, urbanization, water resource policy, insurance contracts, and what can or should we do about that? How effectively do different types of institutions respond? To what extent are the impacts of events like this felt disproportionately by different people? How are private or public initiated responses to need dependent on race or ethnicity or gender or abilities or age? How do we tell the story and the meaning of the human and environmental impacts of the trauma, of resilience, of generosity in newly insightful and meaningful ways? How do we manage the new health needs in both the short and long run of people who are exposed to new pathogens and displaced to new locations and whose resources may have been deeply compromised? And these are the questions, the sort of questions that you will be called upon to consider while at this college, that you will be asked to take on with more and more sophistication each time you iterate from the classroom to an opportunity to put what you are learning in the classroom into practice and then back into the classroom. And of course, while these are questions that apply to the current hurricane, they are easily modified to apply to so much more. There is no barrier between your 4 years at this college and the role you can increasingly play in a world buffeted by 1,000 hurricanes, Charlottesville's, Aleppo's, Venezuela's, opioid epidemics, Zika outbreaks, Brexit's. The conceptualization of Beloit College as a bubble is so wrong in so many dimensions. At your welcome just 1 week ago, Dean Ann Davies and Dean Christina Clowiter told you that the only education worthy of your time at this place was one that had your fingerprints all over it. Your education needs to be your education. It turns out that while you can bubbleize your education, indeed there are students who do so, if you do, you will be working in direct opposition to the glory of this college. You will have short-circuited the distinctive power of this college. The faculty and staff that sit among you are the very best there are at leading you towards becoming a personal realization of the college's mission. It turns out we are really, really good at this. Professor Majid, from whom you will hear in just a few minutes, is really, really, really good at this. Your next 4 years, mentored by the Professor Majids of this college, constitutes the most effective and practical education imaginable. But it takes two to tango. I encourage you to embrace your part in the dance. You will find it well worth the effort. It is a great day to have you as Beloiters. Welcome.
Willow Wallace, president of Beloit Student Congress, will now offer their perspective of Beloit. Hailing from Wakanda, Illinois, Willow was actually like you, just last fall. They arrived at Beloit and promptly established themselves as a student leader, elected to the presidency of BSC in only their second semester here. Majoring in political science, Willow spent the summer in the wilds of the Boundary Waters of Minnesota studying boreal ecology, of all things. Willow.
Hello. So as Anne said, I transferred to Beloit last year, and I feel unbelievably fortunate to be here. We're really lucky to be at a college of Beloit's caliber. I'm the Beloit Student Congress president, and that's why I get to talk to you folks today. So I wanted to keep this sort of down to earth and tell you all a handful of tips that I've picked up in my last 4 years of college. And I think they've served me pretty well. So number one, talk to your professors. Honestly, show up to class early, talk to them about the news, do the readings. Yes, you have to do the readings. Go to their office hours, and often. That way, when you're halfway through the semester and whatever happens, because whatever always happens, and you're at their office and you break down in tears, they know you, and they know your character, and they have something to go off of. Number two, be kind. Everyone is going through their own battle, and you can never guess what somebody's been through. Keep in mind that you're going to be spending the next 4 years with these people, and they'll remember how you treat them. You're going to make a lot of lifelong friends here, so it can't hurt to put your best foot forward. Number three, get out of your comfort zone. I took a dance class here last semester, and I made some of the best friends ever here, lifelong friends. So I really, really recommend that you try something new. It could be one of the best decisions that you ever make. Try out one of our 50-plus clubs, go to the Get Woke sessions that we host, join a sports team, try sustained dialogue, try some weird classes that you've never heard of, and sign up for the free massages that the healthcare offers. Yeah, you can go. Here's a tip. So Wednesdays at noon, when your stew boards come out, click on those because that's how you sign up for them, and they fly like hotcakes. Okay. Number four, if you're not uncomfortable often, you're doing it wrong. You're here to learn and grow. I fully believe that if you leave Beloit's doors after 4 years with the same values and opinions as when you started today, you failed your job of being a college student. Please lean into change and change often. Learn how to have a dialogue with people that you don't agree with, and if you feel strongly about something, learn more about it. Number five, last but not least, please remember to have fun. This is the only time you're going to be surrounded by this many people of the same age who have this amount of free time. This is the only time you're going to have access to a free gym or free concerts or social gatherings that happen every single night of the week. Of course, you have to study and do well in all of your classes, of course, but make sure that you put enjoying yourself on that to-do list as well. Remember, we're all here for you as a resource. You're never alone, even if you might feel that way. Make sure you keep your head held high, stay safe, and look out for one another. Thank you.
Bits and pieces, I've been looking forward to this. Come on up.
Pieces, and we hope you enjoy the songs we have for you today. We're going to be singing Oh Beloit and Riptide.
5, 6, 7, 8. Reading ancient manuscripts in history class,
Contact improv in the Hendrix Center. To the sports center so I can work my abs. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit. Voodoo Barbies improving in Richardson. The Buccaneers are playing in the flood. Bits and Pieces has a show in Java Joint. And if you're still bored, you can always join a club. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit.
Other schools are simply not for me. Here at Beloit, I am free to make my own identity. The farmers' market's open in the warmer months, and next year I am studying abroad. I love studying around the world, but I still miss the times we danced at Folk and Blues Fest in the quad. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit. President's Lounge hanging out with Scotty B. I'm having class studies with the squirrels in the garden of poetry. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit. Oh Beloit, what goes on here? La 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 at Beloit.
Five, six, seven, eight. I was scared of dentists in the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. Though all my friends are turning green. You're the magician's assistant in a tree. Come unstuck. Lady there, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man, and I love you when you're singing that song. And I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. There's this movie that I think you'll like. This guy decides to quit his job and head to New York City. This cowboy's running from himself, and she's been living on a higher shelf. Come unstuck. Lady there, running down to the riptide, sinking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man, and I love you when you're singing that song. And I got a lump in my throat, 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. I just wanna know if you're gonna stay. I just gotta know. I can't have it any other way. I swear she's destined for the screen. Ooh, closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that
Okay, that looks like fun. We're having auditions on September 10th. Come join us.
Each year, a Beloit College faculty member offers an address to our new students that imparts a sense of Beloit College's commitments. I can think of no one better suited to do so this year than Dr. Deborah Majid, Professor of Religious Studies and the 2017 recipient of the James R. Underkoffler Award, Beloit's highest recognition for excellence in teaching. The first African-American woman to receive tenure at Beloit College and to be promoted to full professor, Professor Majid enriches Beloit by challenging us to see ourselves and one another, who we are, our experiences, and our learning in new lights. Professor Majid's students praise her humor, intellect, and passion, as well as the encouragement and guidance she provides. As her colleague, I have similarly benefited from her honesty, generosity, and brilliance as she speaks truth to power, shares laughter, and demands, usually gently, accountability for building the kind of anti-racist community Beloit aspires to be. A student puts it best. Professor Majid is real. She never ceases to tell you what's on her mind, but does it in a way that makes you want to learn more. I'm confident today will prove no exception.
Be careful what you wish for. Good afternoon. It's times like these that leave me craving for more stories of beauty, of caring, of love. That's why August often is my second best time of the year, next to the end of the school year, of course. Because it's here, everyone we encounter on campus is full of optimism and hopeful expectations, open to new adventures, the dawnings of new possibilities, the smell of new possibilities. Even our speech in words, behavior, and association can be contagious and making the day better for someone else. I was reminded of this when I ran into two of my favorite students a few days ago. One was taking the other to experience the play Hamilton as a birthday celebration. Just hearing about their plans, just observing the honesty and gentleness in their interactions with each other was for me infectious and had me walking away feeling renewed, invigorated, inspired. In other words, encountering these students shouted lyrics from Hamilton. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. And as you, class of 2021, look around, please remember that your college years are full of character-building moments. Emerson called character the quiet, reserved, value-creating force of the person, untouched by circumstances or external pressures. I hope you realize that character is your most valuable asset. We may be loved or envied or desired or never forgotten for other attributes, but the one thing no one and nothing can ever erase, unless we let them, is our character. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Education must enable one to sift and weigh evidence, to discern the truth from the false, the real from the unreal, the facts from the fiction." To think, the function of education, I should say, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But education which stops with efficiency may prove the greatest menace to society. The most dangerous criminal may be the man gifted with reason, but no morals. Intelligence on its own, then, is insufficient, according to King. But intelligence plus character, now that is the goal of true education. And clearly, we need broadly educated people to rise up today so that out of the worst of America can come the best of America. Recent events serve as a reminder that the United States is a country founded on myths of nativism, and white racial superiority, coupled with the practice of normalizing heterosexuality and patriarchy. It is equally true that depending upon social location or point of arrival, our past as a nation and as a liberal arts institution is a progressive, celebratory, painful, uncomfortable past. Yes, Beloit, your new home, is a microcosm of the race, class, and power relations in American society. We, all of us, from the most financially endowed trustee to the office of the president, to campus and off-campus residencies, to the least visible support location, and every staff and faculty office in between. We, all of us, are a community of flawed, complex human beings who embody multiple markers of identity. That is, members of the class of 2021, and I'm gonna be going with you. You will not, on this campus, encounter anyone who is infallible, anyone who has fully unpacked and wrestled with their privilege, anyone who, in your view, might not fail you, or anyone who does not bear some responsibility for the norms we permit to fester here. And FYIers, by saying yes, and we're glad you did, and by coming to Beloit, you are now inescapably linked to our we. That is, you are us now. Accountable, responsible. So with you, which America will we create at Beloit College? This is the question of the moment. We have witnessed bigots come out of their closets, arrogantly emboldened by the cover of elected leadership, some whose demented lies about race, justice, gender, citizenship, and religion, or simply what it means to be human, have fueled stereotypes, eroded liberties. Some of our elected leaders and others have preyed on the poorest among us, even as they have assaulted accurate depictions of American democracy, one built on stolen land with stolen lives. Yes, ours is a complicated history of race and hate. We don't have hate on the fringe, we have hate threatening our core national character and thriving in plain sight. The question now is, how do we publicly address hate and the hostile environments and harassing behavior hate produces? How do we eliminate it from the milk fed to our children and theirs? Within hours of terrorism enacted in Charlottesville, my religious leader in Charlotte, North Carolina, joined a rising chorus across the country and declaring the presence of two Americas, both competing for domination. One America is defined by racialized greatness, rooted in a violent history of segregation, sexism, and dehumanizing exploitation. The rhetoric and politics of this America play into the bigoted fears and stereotypes that fuel white supremacy. It privileges the slighted feelings of whites in discussions of racial injustice. It honors male discomfort in discourses about gender, Christianity, and God-centered discourses and debate about religion, heterosexism and gender binaries when speaking of sexualities, and the priority of ableness over differently abled bodies. It preys on the worst of us, the worst in us. To choose this America is to walk the path of indifference, to live in the United States of amnesia. To choose this America is to empty our moral, ethical, and economic pockets, our character, to the folklore of a race superiority that came into existence at a discernible historical moment to benefit the descendants of folk who came to live here permanently, but whose home, like that of today's immigrants, was also once a foreign land. To choose this America is to excuse those in power from doing the hard work, in the words of James Baldwin, of understanding the history we carry within us, even if unconsciously. It is to remain blind to the historical role of institutions like Beloit College in reproducing and legitimizing white supremacy and other forms of suppression. Baldwin, a social critic and quintessential American writer, was right. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. So don't be surprised, class of 2021, when the course objectives or learning goals of some of the classrooms you enter prioritize inquiry into the historically embedded nature of multiple dimensional supremacies or hate or difference, and critically centered notions of interdisciplinarity. I am aware that in your first few days, some of you encountered demonstrations of anger and ignorance. But I'm glad to learn that you also witnessed in your first few days the capacity of resilience and striving to make meaningful connections, the transformational power of humanity when we risk individually and collectively to be vulnerable or fully known. The even greater good news is this: the America of racialized greatness is not our only options. Another America is within us, and is within our reach. The America of accountability and responsibility underscores the urgency of this moment. This America demands the best of us, is the best of us. In this America, the idea of women moving through the world as freely as men sells itself. In the face of injustice, whether inside or outside of the classroom, in this America, we feel emboldened to proclaim, as did Hamilton, I don't want to fight, but I won't apologize for doing what's right. In this America, the goal of communicating isn't just being heard, but also listening and hearing. In this America, silence or neutrality on acts of hate is complicity, and there is no place for neutrality in the presence of injustice, no matter where you find it. Sometimes in this America, we might appear as enemies before we can emerge as true conspirators, co-conspirators. Honestly, marginalized or oppressed people don't need any more allies. They don't need anyone to wring their hands with empathy. What they need is folk like Heather Heyer, may God give her rest in peace, who are willing to join them in the trenches as co-conspirators, fully aware that they might be mistaken as the other too, and harmed or killed as a result. So at Beloit, which America will we create? I am thrilled to learn that Superior Murphy from Milwaukee, Quinn Tehan from New York, and Jordan Edwards from my hometown of LA, and other first-year students already are making their contributions to a better Beloit, speaking out against systematic and individual acts of hate and bias that disenfranchise others. I have no doubt, class of 2021, that the character of greatness lies within each of you, that you can help us make every action over the next 4 years an act of creation that strives, nourishing generations to come. I encourage you not to end this year without taking a course from Steve Wright or Carl Mendelsohn or other wisdom-filled professors who are transitioning to retirement. Know that at Beloit, there are folks, many folks, like Steve and Carl, who have your back. In this place, on these grounds, you will find many who will do all they can to support you, guide you, respect you, challenge you, and be the help you need to develop and enhance your character. But in the end, your success, the mark you leave here, is up to you, honey. So with you, which America will we create? Welcome, class of 2021. May your speech in words, behavior, and association be a courageous light that brightens the path for future generations of Beloiters. And with you, may we be proud of the America we create at Beloit.
Will our flag bearers make their way back up and claim your flags? Okay, you will be leading us back out of the chapel. The chief marshal and platform party and other marshals, and then the rest of the audience will follow our flag bearers. First-year students, I know that door right there beckons you, but don't use it. We would like you to go out the main entrance because there will be other Beloit students who will be welcoming you to our community. So let us rise and process, and then convocation is followed by a picnic. I'm going to put that in quotes. Picnic in Commons, to which everyone is invited.
It might seem